Alright, what's up guys? We are back with another Xenoblade Chronicles video, and today we're going to be talking about something that you guys ask me all the time about, and that is how likely is a Xenoblade Chronicles X Nintendo Switch port. And I put together some thoughts in terms of course, what it is, why it should come back, and how likely it's going to. So let's go ahead and start off with what exactly is Xenoblade Chronicles X. And this is an action RPG from Monolith Soft, developed for the Wii U exclusively. Players can choose from a wide range of party members to supplement their own created character that can choose from a variety of classes and subclasses. This is something that is unique to Xenoblade Chronicles X. You can't do this in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, can't do this in Torn of the Golden Country or Xenoblade Chronicles 1. Now, players can also purchase and upgrade these huge mechs called Skells, and you can pilot them, take down huge monsters, fly around the world map, and so much more. And I feel that it's one of the most unique and interesting games in terms of what it actually is and what Monolith Soft created, especially back then in 2015, and they'd been working on this game since like 2011. Now, why should this game come back? Well, unfortunately, the Wii U didn't do the best in sales. So by the time that Xenoblade Chronicles X was released on the system in the Western territories, it was just pretty much dead. Wii U sales were done. So sales were well below 13 million units, and Nintendo had already publicly announced their next system, the Nintendo NX. Of course, that turned into the Switch, but we all knew that a brand new system was on the way when the time that Xenoblade Chronicles X was even released. So it was just unfortunate, and I did feel that it deterred people from going out there and picking up Wii U to play the various games on there. But I think especially with Xenoblade Chronicles X, and that game released in December, so the holiday period, were people rushing out there to pick up Wii U's even well after Nintendo already announced that they're working on their next system? Not really. So I think Xenoblade Chronicles X sales were greatly affected by that, and of course just the bad marketing publicity of the Wii U. So I think that's one of the reasons why I should really just come back, just so we can get another opportunity. But another problem with Xenoblade Chronicles X on the Wii U was the gamepad and the controller implementation, with really just the Wii U gamepad, really, to be honest. So Nintendo was really keen at that time in using the gamepad in all these different and unique ways to communicate the value of the system. But unfortunately, it came at the price of like common functionality with a single controller if you opt to play with a Pro controller and not exclusively use the gamepad as your main controller. Now, Xenoblade Chronicles X uses the Wii U gamepad for a variety of tasks like mining resources, but if you are opting to play with a Pro controller, you still have to use the gamepad screen to set probes and see certain things on the map. It actually became really tiresome to look back and forth or use two controllers when a simple on-screen layout on your main screen, a toggle button just so you can see the mines and the probes and you can put them where you need to, would just be really easy for them to do, especially if you're using a Pro controller, because the Pro controller got you 80 hours of battery life, and the Wii U gamepad, it drained really quickly with this game because of how high quality the map layout was and everything with it. It would just drain the Wii U gamepad battery so much unless you put on like the lowest setting and everything, or you change out the battery pack and put a higher capacity power battery in your Wii U gamepad. So I always opt to use the Pro controller because I would play this game for long stints and I want to have long battery life, but unfortunately that was not the case with Xenoblade Chronicles X with the Wii U gamepad implementation, and having to use that gamepad even when you're using a Pro controller is a bit rough for some. So bringing it back, that would pretty much solve that, because there is no Wii U gamepad or there is no second controller experience with the Nintendo Switch at this point. Now, Xenoblade Chronicles X was also a unique game on the Wii U, as it was the only game that I can remember that had optional install data packs. Now, this is something that the PS4 and the Xbox One at this point, and even the PS3 and the Xbox 360, definitely had a number of games that you could optionally install, or it was required that you install a certain amount of space or a lot of space on there. Now, these data packs could be installed to increase the loading times and texture layouts in the game, if you download all the data packs and the game, it can get quite high in the file size. A single Switch cartridge optimized could get rid of the need for the optional installs and potentially even improve the load times and performance of the game, which that game was already really optimized and performed well in terms of the frame rate and everything for the Wii U, because that system just wasn't built for the open world styles of games out there. There wasn't many of them on there, but Xenoblade Chronicles X was that shining example of how you can do it right on the Wii U. And the game also had a very unique take on online multiplayer. This is also one of the big reasons why I should come back. You can actually borrow other players' team members for a limited time and go on exclusive missions for up to 4 players online and get rare loot, take down some cool bosses. It was actually really phenomenal, and it was a fantastic setup for those looking to get the most out of the game, because the game already had like hundreds of hours of quests and side missions and all this other stuff. Now, a few optimizations for Switch, and it can be a big hit to help more people hop on the Nintendo Switch online service. And the last point that I want to make is kind of what I talked about a little bit earlier, and this is definitely a no-brainer, but the Nintendo Switch sales are probably the biggest reason why Xenoblade Chronicles X should make a comeback. The game just had a limited amount of people that could experience it on the Wii U because of the sales, with the Nintendo Switch pretty much already tripling up plus on the Wii U. It makes perfect sense to bring this one back and let gamers experience this game, just because there's not enough people who are able to play it on the Wii U, and that's the only place Nintendo has released it on their pretty much worst selling home console of all time. But yeah, it's such a great game. Now, this is the million-dollar question, right? How likely is this to happen? Now, here's the thing, guys. Monolith Soft has already officially came out and stated it would be very difficult for them to port over Xenoblade Chronicles X because of the cost associated with the game. I do still feel that Nintendo and Monolith Soft want to get the game done somehow, some way on the Nintendo Switch. Now, based on Tetsuya Takahashi wanting to please fans, because he's always been a person that's out there looking out for what the fans want, and the increased success of the Nintendo Switch, the increased success of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and what that game did for the franchise in general, I think there's around a 50% chance or higher that we can see Xenoblade Chronicles X get a Nintendo Switch port. I think the more interesting thing, or question more like in this case, is whether or not the next Xenoblade Chronicles game will be Xenoblade Chronicles X2. Will they follow up on that? Now, I want to know what you guys think about this, but I do want to say with Xenoblade Chronicles X, and probably another thing that they can do kind of just to add on my own wish list when it comes to Xenoblade Chronicles 2, because there was a cliffhanger, okay? The end of the story, obviously, a lot of you guys are probably going to put that, yeah, we need an X2 because of the cliffhanger, and I get that, but that's kind of a separate thing. We're talking about getting Switch owners the opportunity to play Xenoblade Chronicles X, the original game, because it's on a system that people actually own. I do feel that doing stuff like HD Rumble, been a big fan of that. Imagine the different types of weapons and the HD Rumble that you can implement into there. Another thing would be, once again, we talked about the cartridge sizes and everything, having a 16GB cartridge, no optional installs or downloads or anything like that. I think they can get it to that size and it would be great, and you can play it on there. And another thing is that game, Xenoblade Chronicles X, has one of the largest open worlds, and it's completely seamless. You can go anywhere in that open world without any loading times, which is just like, still to this day, there are plenty of games that don't do it to that efficiency in terms of the size of that world and how fast you can just kind of get into it, fly around. So I think that overall, Xenoblade Chronicles X, that would be a game that a lot of people, even more maybe at this point, because of the sales of the Switch, which that might do better than Xenoblade Chronicles 2 just because of the install base and where it is and the kind of hype heading into it, and potentially a Xenoblade Chronicles X2, the mechs and everything. I think Nintendo could really have something special here if they decided to port over Xenoblade Chronicles X. And like I did say, 50% chance or higher that it does come over, because I think Tetsuya Takahashi knows that the fans really want it. So once again, What do you guys think about this? Would you guys like to see Xenoblade Chronicles X come over to Nintendo Switch? And what improvements, enhancements, or adjustments would you make to the game in order to make it a better game that would be feasible? Obviously, the main character is a mute, right? Your own created character is a mute. I don't think they can make a scenario or anything for that, but what are some of the small tweaks or changes that you would make to the game in order to make it better on the Nintendo Switch? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Alright guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Go ahead and check out the links in the description below. We got Facebook and Twitter. Go ahead and give us a like and a follow on our social media. Hit that like button if you did like this video. Let me know you guys want more content like this going forward in the future. And subscribe to PlayerEssence for latest RPG, Japanese, and Nintendo gaming news. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.